I want to talk about denormalization. Denormalization is when you decide not to do the normalization. Normalization we know will get rid of redundancy and it will make updates much faster. But then when you separate things into two separate tables, fine, now updates are faster because you've separated it out so you don't have the redundancy. But if you're constantly joining and you need information over and over and you're constantly joining, you've just slowed down retrievals. Now retrievals are much slower. So sometimes if it's something that you're going to be accessing all the time together, it may not make sense to normalize and you may choose to denormalize. Okay, so here's an example. Here we have branch number, street, city, and postcode. And we know that postcode functionally determines city. Every time I see this postcode, I know it's going to be in this city. So every time you see the postcode, you know the city. So postcode functionally determines the city. So according to 3NF, and the reason it's 3NF is branch number functionally determines postcode, and postcode functionally determines city. So it's a 3NF violation, so we need to move over postcode. We need to move over city and copy over postcode, and our tables would look like this with branch number, street, and postcode, and in the next table we had moved over city and we had copied over postcode. So according to 3NF, we should look like this. However, rarely are you going to want to have a branch with branch information with a street and a postcode without a city, because you're going to be using this for an address and you're going to want your full address. So many times, or if you can think of this with us, with a city and zip code, according to 3NF, really those should be moved out, or city and state. City and state should be separated out, but you don't want, sometimes you might choose not to move things out because it doesn't make sense, because you're going to be joining it so often together to get all that information that it actually doesn't make sense to be separated out. And that's a choice you make at this point. So after you've done all your normalization, you can go back and denormalize and decide that some things are going to be used together all the time, and joins will actually slow it down rather than, and instead of having it faster, it's going to make it too slow. So that's something to think about.